It's not about paying the bills. It's about living the mission, living the dream. But we still have to pay for it. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Coffee with Father James. I have the Our Lady of Guadalupe coffee mug here that I'm going to be drinking from. I'm here today to pick up on something we had been speaking about in the parish for a couple of weeks shortly after Easter. That was the 3 weeks that we took to reflect on the topic of giving and our call to be responsible stewards and our call to support the mission, to give to support the mission of the parish. Not to give to the parish, because if you're a parishioner, you are the parish. You don't give to the parish. We, including myself, we give to the mission of the parish, the mission that the Lord has called us to. And don't worry, we're not starting a new preaching series. That's done, but you may recall that at the time I had apologized for not having our annual Stewardship of Treasure, or financial report, finished on time. And I'm here to tell you that it's done. It's been quite a bit of work to get it pulled together. And we're going to be sending that out to you this week. So I'm going to share a little bit about it with you here in this coffee video. It will be emailed to all of our parishioners on Friday this week. And we will have some physical copies will be printed and available on the weekend at Masses for all who would like a physical copy. Now, before I just give you a quick overview of what you're going to receive, I just want to remind you again about why it is. Like, you know, I stopped apologizing for speaking about issues of finances a number of years ago. There always seems to be that impulse to somehow say, I'm really sorry that we have to talk about this. We know from every other part of our lives that it's part of our reality. Like it's a reality that we have to deal with. We have to be good stewards of everything that God has given us, and not just in terms of, you know, burying our talents, our resources in the ground, but using them for the sake of the mission that God has given us. So I don't just want to talk to you about what's in this report. I want to again remind you about the why of this report. Here's the thing. We want every parishioner to own the parish, to have a sense of ownership on the parish. You know, Jesus said, where your treasure is, there is your heart. There's something about human nature. If we're not invested in something, and then we usually don't take a sense of ownership in it. And we can be invested in something emotionally, psychologically, physically, in many different ways. But I'll tell you, there's no quicker way than to feel invested than to actually invest our resources. When you start giving to something, you can start giving to a particular cause or charity, all of a sudden you have a sense of ownership over that cause, which is actually a beautiful thing. And my prayer is that every single parishioner grows in a sense of ownership of our parish, of what God has given us. Like you don't give to the parish, you are the parish. This is not the place where you go. This is who you are. This parish is who you are. This church is who you are. This is your parish. And the future we're dreaming about, the mission that God has called us to, it's your mission. It's your future. Where your treasure is, there's your heart. And when we do, commit to supporting the mission of the church with our treasure, it impacts our heart. And so part of the real why of this report is to help you be owners, to have a sense of ownership of our parish. And if we're going to move into the future faithfully, we're going to need it. We need everyone to take ownership. And so part of the reason for this report is to help people have a perspective on the financial dimension of the life of our church. Some people say, well, that's not very spiritual. Guess what? It is spiritual. We live in this world. We're not angels. We don't float on clouds playing the harp. There are real hard realities. Just barely subsisting requires finances. And living the mission is a whole other thing. And God is not calling us to simply exist or minimally subsist. God is calling us to go on this adventure, this great adventure that He's calling us to. And so there are real costs, and we have to do the math. We have to make decisions to commit to it. So here's what we're providing in this report. We have basically a year-end report for 2022 and a first quarter report, January to March for 2023, and we have the budget for 2023 as well. We also have a whole bunch of statistics around, you know, the fruitfulness of our ministries, you know, our formation ministries with kids and families, and our outreach to the poor, and how much was given in support of the ministries to the poor. We've got a lot of kind of very practical tidbits of information around heating costs and snow removal, things that you might not even think of, and with numbers that you might actually be shocked about. There's a lot of practical, interesting, I think, information in this. Information on our Sunday collections and the patterns and the proportions of spending that we have in our parish between the overall cost of buildings and the cost of administration, administering the buildings and administering ministry, and the cost of the pastoral activities and ministries. Just going through this, we've got a message from our Director of Operations, a little message from the Chair of the Finance Council. There's a letter from myself. There's some information about the funds that we receive from the sale of our buildings. And, well, there's other juicy tidbits in this report. And so it will be 8 pages. It's colorful. It's been designed by a graphic designer. And my ask here of you is to take it, and please don't just fold. If you get a physical copy, please don't just fold it up and leave it in the car or leave it in the pew. We've put a lot of work into this, like hours and hours and hours of work. We've presented this financial information not as an unreadable spreadsheet, but we've broken it down. We've simplified it. Still accurate, but it's simplified so that people like me can understand it. So please take this and take some time. You could read through this carefully in about 10 minutes. Please take the 10 minutes. We want you to be informed. We want to be transparent about parish finances, and we want to be the leadership, Finance Council, myself, we want to be accountable to you, to everyone who supports this mission, again, with the ultimate purpose that you grow as an owner of this ministry. So if you get a physical copy, please read it. For those of you who are good with the digital copy, please double click it on your email and open it up and save it, and perhaps even print it off your printer. I think that can be, I know for me, sometimes I like to hold a physical copy of something that I can mark up. But most importantly, please take time with it. And thanks again, everyone, for your commitment to our parish. These are exciting days, and I look forward to what the Lord has in store for us in the coming months. God bless you.